Donald Trump, a man built on controversy. His entire career, from real estate to the presidency, has been defined by challenging norms and making audacious promises. But amidst the noise of his political comeback, a new, far more radical idea is taking shape. A plan that could redefine America's place in the world by tackling its single greatest vulnerability, its national debt. What he might be planning could be his boldest and most dangerous move yet. The United States currently owes over $37 trillion. It's a figure so vast it's almost incomprehensible, growing by $1 trillion every 100 days. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet, it's a ticking time bomb at the heart of the global financial system, threatening to devalue the dollar and undermine American power. For decades, the only solutions offered have been to raise taxes or cut spending. But what if there was a third option? A financial reset button? According to an unlikely source, that's exactly what's on the table. And the proposed solution is crypto. Last month, in a statement largely ignored by Western media, Vladimir Putin's top economic advisor made a startling claim. He alleged that Washington is secretly plotting a radical financial reset. The plan, he said, involves weaponizing decentralized assets like cryptocurrency and remonetizing gold to unilaterally erase its debt, effectively defaulting without the catastrophic consequences. The goal? To escape an unsustainable economic reality and rebuild global power entirely in its favor. At first, it sounds like classic Russian propaganda designed to sow distrust in the US dollar. But when you dig deeper, peeling back the layers of geopolitical rhetoric, some of the core components of this supposed plot actually match real discussions happening inside Trump's inner circle. Behind the scenes, a radical new economic strategy is taking shape within Trump's inner circle. They've floated the audacious idea of creating a crypto strategic reserve. This wouldn't just be a small government investment, it would be a national stockpile of digital assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Think of it like the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but for the digital age, a buffer against economic shocks and a powerful tool for geopolitical leverage. The very concept signals a monumental shift, treating cryptocurrency not as a fringe asset, but as a strategic national resource on par with gold or oil. It's a plan designed to project strength in a new financial era. And Trump himself? His transformation has been just as dramatic. He's gone from publicly calling crypto a scam based on thin air to becoming one of its loudest and most visible defenders. This isn't just talk, it's a calculated pivot backed by action. He's launched his own NFT collections, hosted dinners with Bitcoin miners, and, in a landmark move for a presidential campaign, began actively soliciting crypto donations. He's now promising to foster innovation and position America as the global leader in this emerging technology. So why the sudden dramatic change of heart? The answer lies not in the world of crypto, but in the bedrock of American power. Because the nation's single greatest strategic advantage, the US dollar, is under unprecedented pressure. Its status as the world's undisputed financial backbone is no longer guaranteed. For nearly a century, the world operated on a simple premise. It trusted the dollar as its primary reserve currency. This wasn't just a matter of convenience, it was the engine of the global economy. That unparalleled trust granted the US an exorbitant privilege, the ability to borrow almost endlessly in its own currency and, for decades, live beyond its means. But now, the foundations of that trust are cracking. Interest rates on America's staggering national debt are surging, making borrowing more expensive than ever. Faith in the dollar's long-term stability is fading. Meanwhile, geopolitical rivals like China and rising economic powers like India are no longer content with the status quo. They are actively building alternative payment systems and forging new alliances to bypass the dollar altogether. The question is no longer the dollar's dominance will be challenged, it's and what will replace it. For some, the answer might not be another nation's currency, but a digital one. Enter Trump's vision, the Genius Act. On the surface, it's about modernizing finance, bringing crypto into the heart of the US economy. Under this plan, stablecoins, digital currencies backed by something real, would be tied not to cash, but to US government debt. In short, every new stablecoin would represent a slice of America's debt. If it worked, the dollar could dominate the digital age. If it failed, it could bring the system down. But here's the fundamental problem, the elephant in the room of American economics. The national debt is massive. We're talking about a figure so colossal it's difficult to comprehend, a mountain of obligations casting a long shadow over the nation's future. This isn't just a number on a screen. It's a structural challenge that conventional economic tools have struggled to solve. For a crypto-based solution to even begin to make a dent in this debt, the stablecoin market would need to grow on an unimaginable scale. It would have to absorb trillions of dollars, becoming a parallel financial system woven into the very fabric of the global economy. And with that unprecedented scale comes unprecedented danger. The temptation for Washington would be immense. With the push of a button, the government could theoretically print unlimited digital coins, flooding the market and quietly devaluing every dollar in existence. This is the modern-day equivalent of running the printing presses, a way to inflate its way out of debt by making the money it owes worth less. Sound familiar? It should. This strategy has a famous historical precedent. In 1971, facing economic pressures, President Nixon unilaterally cut the US dollar's final link to gold. The Nixon shock sent ripples worldwide. The dollar's value fell, America's foreign debts became cheaper to repay, and the global financial system was rewritten overnight. Now, critics fear Trump's plan could be a digital repeat of that moment, a Nixon 2.0. They warn that by embracing a government-influenced stablecoin, we could be setting the stage to rewrite the rules once again. This time using the speed and opacity of cryptocurrency to enact a seismic shift in global finance. The risk isn't just economic, it's about trust. Treasuries are trusted because they're simple. The US borrows and it pays back. But wrap that debt inside crypto and investors start asking, is this innovation or manipulation? If trust cracks, America's biggest creditors, China, Japan, Europe, could simply sell. That would send borrowing costs soaring and the dollar spiraling. And once trust breaks, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Meanwhile, America's rivals are watching and building their own systems. China is expanding its digital yuan, creating networks that bypass the dollar completely. Russia paints the US as desperate, using every headline to claim the dollar's dominance is ending. And maybe, just maybe, they're not entirely wrong. The global financial order that began in 1945 is bending. Money once backed by gold, then by trust, is now backed by code. Whoever controls that code controls the future. Whether Trump's plan ever becomes reality, one thing is clear. The fight over money is no longer about paper or banks. It's about control, trust, and power. Russia sees it as a weapon. China sees it as an opportunity. And America, it sees it as a lifeline. The debt is real. The technology is real, and the battle between them will decide who rules the next century. This isn't just about money, it's about power, and that fight has already begun.